Okay, so one of the things you need to do with the 3D vectors is be able to graph them on a three-dimensional set of axes. And first thing you need to remember is if you just have generic axes looking like this one that looks diagonal, it's like it's coming out of the page towards you. And that's X. And it comes in this direction so that this is positive. And this is Y, so this is the positive for Y, which means this way is negative. So for X, this way is positive, this way is negative. And Z is like it's coming up out of the piece of paper, and or out of the flat surface, if this is a flat surface that's the XY plane, let's put it that way. It's coming up out of the XY plane. Here's Z, and this is the positive. Okay, so X, Y, Z. So the first coordinate here is -3. So I'm going to start at the origin, and instead of coming this way, which is positive X, I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3. So the origin and the point I just made are 2 points of a parallelogram I'm going to be making. So that's the X. Then I'm going to do the Y. This is going to help me figure out the other direction that the parallelogram goes. It's going to go 4 to the right on the y-axis because that's the positive. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are 3 corners of my parallelogram. Okay, so I need to let me go ahead and connect those a little darker. I need to do the other 2 sides. And it's a parallelogram, so the top one up here, this has to be parallel to this. And this side over here has to be parallel to this. So this one's parallel to the y-axis. This side is parallel to the x-axis. So it's something like this. Okay, and as far as how long they are, you basically just go until they meet. So that's my 4th corner. So this is my parallelogram that's in the xy plane. That's either the top of my box or the bottom of my box. Since I'm going to go down for Z, that is the top of my box. So I'm going to go down 2 from all 4 of those corners. Now the easiest place to go down to is on the Z-axis. So here's that. The rest of them, you kind of have to have something. I take a corner of a piece of paper to help you mark it off to make sure you're going down the same distance that you did right there. So that's from here to there. So I'm going to take that little piece of, it's almost like a little measurement, and I'm going to go here and go straight down, and everything I'm doing here is parallel, let me use my pencil, parallel to the Z-axis, going straight up and down. And I'm just, this is not how far it is, let's see. This is unfortunate, it ends up right behind that piece. Then over here, go down straight up and down here. And right here. And then I've got 4 points that are the bottoms of those 4 segments I just drew, and I connect those in a parallelogram. Don't cut across through the middle. Nothing goes across through the middle. Every single segment you draw is always parallel to either the x-axis or the y-axis or the z-axis. So now, as far as where this point actually is, -3, right 4, down 2, it's this point right here. So this is the point, -3, 4, -2. And if I'm asked, which I was, to draw the vector, in other words, these tell me I'm getting the vector, I take and draw an arrow from this, the origin, and unfortunately this looks like it's going right along the y-axis. It doesn't always look like that. It's kind of cutting diagonally down through the box. You just can't see that from where it is. And that's your vector. That's not the prettiest one because it's right behind this. So let's do another one that's a little bit more obvious. Let's do, and I'm afraid we're going to get interrupted by a vacuum in just a second, and if that's the case, I might just stop talking and still work. So we'll see. So X, I'm going to call X2 and Y 3 and Z 4. Why not? 2, 3, 4. Okay, so X is 2. This is the positive direction. So I'm going to come 2, 1, 2 forward on the x-axis. So this is one side of my parallelogram. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 in the positive direction on the y-axis. That's another side of my parallelogram. So now I have 3 points out of 4 of my parallelogram. You can help yourself by sketching. This is, notice I'm drawing a line that's parallel to the x-axis here. This could help me. And a line that's parallel to the y-axis here. Right now we haven't used z at all, so everything is parallel to x and y. So this is where the 4th point of my parallelogram is going to be. Okay, now I'm going to go up or down from here, and it's 4, and it's positive 4, so I'm going to go up. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to mark that length. I would rather have a straight piece of paper, so let me try that again. And this is how far I need to go up from each one of those. And I want to go up in a way that I'm parallel, staying parallel to the z-axis, the vertical axis. So try to stay parallel to that. Okay, so it's kind of like a table that's upside down, and these are the legs sticking up. And the bottoms of the legs are what I'm going to connect to make the top of my box. Okay, so the point 2, 3, 4 is forward 2, right 3, up 4, so it's this point right here. And to get there from the origin, this is my vector.